Good morning. I'm back. Had a few days off last week. Realised I was a bit tired and overwhelmed. Welcome back to... Now, I don't know whether this is still the way of the cross or the way of the resurrection. And I have a bit of a confession. I'm more of a Good Friday person than an Easter Sunday person. And maybe I need to live into this resurrection bit a bit more and get out of the Good Friday stuff. And with that confession, you'll hear what I'm going to say, because I think it's still perhaps clinging on to Good Friday. But I'm very keen that we don't lose the Good Friday, because Easter Easter is not about saying, we've overcome Good Friday. We don't need to go there anymore. We're now in the way of the resurrection. No. Well, anyway, let me read. This is from Jesus and Thomas. It's part of the Gospel for Sunday, and I reflected on this a bit in what I said in the Sunday sermon or in the service. A week later, the disciples were together again. This time, Thomas was with them. Jesus came in while the doors were still locked and stood in the middle of the group. He greeted his disciples and said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and look at my hand. Put your hand in my side. Stop doubting and have faith." And Thomas replied, "You are my Lord and my God." Jesus said, "Thomas, you have faith because you have seen me." Jesus said, "Thomas, do you have faith because you have seen me? The people who have faith in me without seeing me are the ones who are really blessed." And that was John 20:26-29. And it's from the CEV, Contemporary English Version, which I like. Jesus and Thomas. Jesus wanting to draw Thomas out. As I was saying in the sermon, we define Thomas as doubting. But Jesus doesn't say, "Oh, you're doubting Thomas." He's drawing him out, urging him on. You've seen and believe. Blessed are those who don't actually need to see. I've heard it said, and this is from Richard Rohr, and he's probably picked it up from someone else, that the real miracle was that Jesus was risen with his scars. And that was what Thomas was finding most difficult to cope with. I'm thinking about that. There's something there. Because I think if I was expecting Jesus risen from the dead, I would expect him to be completely renewed, completely healed. And maybe we've got that wrong, because we've got some sounding going on in the distance. I hope you can still hear me. Because healing is about healing us with our scars from the past. It's not about making us totally new. It's actually integrating the scars of the past into the new person that we are and are becoming. So Jesus has the scars in his hands and his side. And I've written something down. It's getting serious, isn't it? Writing things down. This is a little sentence which I think is where I feel we need to be. And you may feel this is a bit too Good Friday, but remember, I'm a Good Friday person. As we keep in mind the raw realities of life and death, we are to strive to find connected and compassionate delight in the small and the intimate. As we keep in mind the raw realities of life and death, we are to strive to find connected and compassionate delight in the small and the intimate. Let me unpack that. So it's not, we can push aside Good Friday. It's keeping in mind the horror of Good Friday, the raw realities of life and death. Striving, seeking to find connected. So much of Christian growth is about connection. Connection with ourselves, connection with God, connection with other people in our Christian group, church, or whatever. But also a deeper connection, a connection with all people. And there's something powerful about COVID in that it's the same for everyone. Actually, probably that's not true, because it'll be a lot worse for the people who don't have the luxury of social distancing and hand washing and protective clothing and all that. So it is going to hit the poorer people in developing nations more than us. But other than that, it gets us all. So there is an opportunity there to find our connection and not say, oh, it's a Chinese thing and oh, it's the Chinese people's fault. No. It's part of the way we live our life. We're all guilty. It was spread by air travel, and that is not a Chinese invention. Now we're in this together. We have an opportunity to see our connectedness as people. Compassionate. Be compassionate with ourselves. Be compassionate with the people you meet. They are struggling. All the things I've been talking about in the coping with COVID stuff. I've written it down here. Yes. Well, see that for more detail about threat, change, restriction, opportunity. Be compassionate with yourself and with other people. But in that compassion, find delight in the small and the intimate. Again, very similar to my previous talk this morning, coping with COVID. Taking delight in that pot plant because we can't go out, or if we can go out, the tree coming into leaf. I just stood there looking at a tree that was at eye level, and the leaves, these huge leaves, were coming out of a tiny bud. How does that happen? Is that amazing? Delight in the small and the intimate. You may be restricted in your connection with people, but you still can connect with people. Find those small, intimate connections. Delight in those small and intimate connections. As we keep in mind the raw realities of life and death, we strive, we seek to find connected and compassionate delight in the small and the intimate. Amen.